This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Eric, you threw me off with the thumbs up.
I do that every time.
I know, but this morning, it was just out of the corner of my eye. And thumbs up threw me. So welcome, everyone, to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody. With me are Kyle and Eric.
Hello again.
Hello.
We're off to a little rocky start this morning. We had a mic drop.
When are we?
And not the
Literal
right
mic drop.
and not the right moment.
When are we never off to a rocky start?
I don't know. You think like, oh, Friday, it's gonna be so
You
nice.
say Rocky, I say charming and endearing.
There we go. Well, today we've got some trailers to talk about, and then some kind of like our takes on some of the major headlines this week.
Yeah, Mr. Scorsese's gotten himself in some hot water
He
from
had to
those
go and step in
internet
it.
fanboys
Yeah.
and girls.
Dirty scoundrels.
God, they're
And
they
Edward
are
Norton.
worse. Edward Norton, yeah, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. First off, we have the new trailers. Not a lot this week, but we include Dr. Dolittle, the Bombshell trailer, and Peter Rabbit 2. So, where do you want to get started, guys?
I guess we can just start from the top with the Dolittle trailer.
Oh, yeah. It's not Dr. Dolittle.
It was
and
originally
the
The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle,
Yeah.
and that seemed like a long time ago now.
It's very
Yeah.
long
They
time ago.
released that poster with all the different voice cast.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and then I just totally forgot about it. Apparently, it's had a really troubled production.
Mhm.
And then this trailer came out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing, right?
Mhm.
And now it's just called Dolittle.
Who was the Dr. Dolittle before him?
Eddie
Well,
Murphy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie
okay.
Murphy in the early 2000s or late 90s.
And he was an actual like vet, right? That could talk to
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Animals?
that's what the angle that they went
He was
with
like an
it.
actual
like a
just
modern day
doctor.
vet.
I've never seen those. I've only seen like the original Dr. Dolittle, so
Yeah, that
I know
was
nothing
what
about
Rex
the Eddie Murphy
Rex
ones.
Harrington, I think.
Maybe. I
think
can't
that was his
remember.
Mm.
I
can't
check,
remember
but
it. I can't remember the Eddie Murphy ones. I think there was a sequel.
I think there was
They
a
just,
sequel
even
too.
at a young age, they just never looked good to me.
I just have
Like even
never
as a
liked
child, I
movies
was like,
with-
"This looks awful." Like, why would
live
anyone
action
watch
movies
this?
with talking animals? I've just never really liked.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's true, but I don't know. Even still, at a young age, I was like, "Why are people? This looks bad."
Well, when
So,
it was,
I don't know.
When it was announced, I was like, Dr. Dolittle, that's such an old property. Like, I don't think kids
So
today.
old.
No,
No.
it really is.
It really
like
is
it's a
a
miracle
super-
I
I know,
saw
it's
the
super
old
I
old.
feel
one.
like it's why like Dumbo didn't do well. You know, not Disney can't just remake everything. I mean, there is an audience sensibility, and
Yeah.
some of these properties, like Dumbo, fall outside modern taste.
Dumbo has always been more of like a deep cut from the Disney, like the classic Disney. I mean, it's like the
It's so
second Disney
old.
movie ever made.
Yeah.
I think it might be like the third. But
It was like it was.
Snow White was the first, and then I'm pretty sure it was Dumbo.
Yeah, it was like
And then Fantasia.
And then Pinocchio.
Pinocchio was the second. Pinocchio was
Pinocchio
definitely
was
the second.
second. I know Dumbo was around the 40s during the war, so it must have been like
Dumbo was either 39 or like 40 or 41.
yeah. So
I
I think
don't know.
I don't know. It's top. It's in the first 10. I'll
But
say
I see
that.
what you're saying. I mean,
Mhm.
certain franchises, just the idea of them, I guess, can seem a little dated.
Right.
Like, not to say that you can't take an interesting new take on it, but I
I
don't necessarily think that this new one is that take.
No. I kind of feel like besides this, Looney Tunes, like they're always trying to remake Looney Tunes, but
Oh yeah.
I don't like my kids aren't going to watch Looney Tunes.
That's
and
sad
I
to hear.
barely watched Looney Tunes when I was
Yeah, I
little.
didn't watch a lot. I watched a lot more like Disney and like Hanna-Barbera stuff than
Right.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Man, it's, you guys are. I mean, I watched all those too, but I made sure to catch up on my Looney Tunes as well. It's
They're-
just so foreign to me.
I've seen a lot of them, but I didn't love them.
But I don't think
I was a Donald Duck
besides Space Jam, I don't think I would have gone to a Looney Tunes movie when I was little, and let alone take my kids to one now. Like, I feel like the sensibilities of the characters are just so different. Like, they are what the products of their time, and I don't think you can always modernize them without completely changing the character of who they were supposed to be.
kid. Yeah, I mean it's just very slapstick,
Hmm.
and slapstick is a pretty, it's just kind of a dated
Right.
form
Unless
of humor.
you're-
It can still be good.
Unless you're Dom Hall Gleason
But-
in the Peter Rabbit 2 trailer, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, so about this Dolittle trailer,
Yeah.
got a little off. But
Should
I'm just so confused on the tone of this thing.
we give a synopsis?
Yeah.
I have it pulled up here.
Go ahead.
All we're saying is Dolittle, but
It's
It's a guy who can talk to animals.
It's Dolittle. He can talk to animals.
apparently the story's going to be much deeper than you think.
seriously,
It's
this
played by
trailer's
Robert Downey Jr.
Very deep.
Yeah. Apparently the synopsis
Period piece.
the synopsis says that Dr. Dolittle lost his wife several years ago.
Oh no!
That's how it starts.
Tragic backstory.
So now he hides
not
away in his manor with all the animals that he talks to or whatnot. And I guess years later, the queen is going to make Dolittle set sail to find a cure for her after she's ill. And I guess that's why we see Dolittle look off into the distance of his manor and then set sail
Yeah, but why-
on a high seas adventure.
Why does he need to talk to animals?
Where
in
did
this
the
story?
kids come in?
This is what I'm saying.
I don't
Like,
know.
Are they
there kids?
wards of his?
They're probably
Yeah, there's-
his children because he
probably
has
all a
wife.
metaphor, and the animals are actually like his kids.
I don't think they're his.
He's gonna
kids.
pull like a zombie land where
He
like,
just took some kids.
like the puppy is
No,
actually his
as one
daughter.
does.
No, back in that time, children would become your ward.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah.
maybe they're
You gotta
maybe
pump
they're
'em out.
orphans, and that he's their guardian. And so then there's a parallel story of grief and overcoming grief.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the tone of
Probably.
this thing on this
Sure.
trailer, it's like just the most overly like inspirational, beautiful like
Yeah.
music.
And then
And there's,
John
like, these
Cena's a
key-
giraffe, and
Yeah, there's like these key lines where Robert Downey Jr. looks like genuinely just like broken. He's like
Yeah.
red, teary eyes and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, what
Mm-hmm.
is this? And then there'll be like a silly kind of
Tom Holland the monkey's like yuck yuck yuck.
Yeah, or like he'll be
Yuck, yuck,
he'll be
yuck,
all
Mr.
tied
Stark.
up in ropes, and it looks like it's played for laughs, but this incredibly inspiring music is still blasting.
yeah.
So it's just a little like I really don't know,
It's
but
just mixed on what the movie is trying to be. I think.
well,
I think people
I
might
hadn't
be
even
able to
read that,
smell that.
that synopsis yet,
Mhm.
and then you read that, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess I can kind of see that in the trailer now. I probably should have done a little bit more research.
yeah, Eric,
But
don't phone it in now.
this is a January movie. Come on.
It's not a good sign that it's a January movie, but at least it's a whimsical blockbuster.
It's a
January
whimsical
movie.
Sherlock Holmes where he wakes up and he's Sherlock in an institution dreaming about talking to animals.
Downey does look like.
He looks exactly
Sherlock.
like his Sherlock character.
Oh,
in
I mean,
this.
obviously.
Maybe
'cause
this is
it's
the
him.
timing.
Even
When does
mumbles
when's
that
the third
bad
Sherlock Holmes
English
movie come out?
accent.
2021, maybe.
Maybe the production like of those two lined up, and
He's
he's
like,
just like
So he's
Oh.
just gonna
was in the
keep-
same costume. He just kind of walked across the lot to the
Yeah.
other studio and filmed his scenes for this.
I feel like that's what he
Ugh,
did.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's that same horrible British accent he does where he just mumbles.
I like his British accent.
Why?
I was moved.
Kyle, seriously.
I like it.
I like the. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the movies though. So
Yeah, those are great movies.
I like
Yeah.
the Sherlock Holmes movies. I don't like the weird whimsical take this one is going with.
I just think it's very odd. I was totally caught off guard, and the editing in the trailer kind of contradicted the music.
Yeah.
But I'm not writing it off
Yeah.
because I'm always up for a movie to try and do if you said if it is sort of like a story about grief or something, I hope it can pull it off. But that was not what I was expecting from a Dolittle movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make out of this 2-minute trailer.
No,
So that's our
Well, everybody
take on it.
get used to it because you're going to be playing it on Frozen and Star Wars and Ford
Yeah.
versus
Oh, yeah.
Ferrari and
it's out there now.
Spies in Disguise.
My gut tells me it's
It's going to be
probably
saturated.
gonna underperform.
I think people are gonna sniff this out and be like, I don't.
Well, the biggest thing for
I
me
don't
is
think
Robert
so.
Downey Jr. has always been like, he's like one of the biggest stars right now. But something I've always said is like, how much of that is because people just love Iron Man?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if,
Or Sherlock Holmes.
yeah, but I mean, even the second Sherlock Holmes movie's a while ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
So
been a
I'm
few
wondering
years.
how many people are gonna turn out for this purely based on like his star power when he's not Iron Man.
Oh, I mean, Universal's banking on that for sure.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think you're putting a little too much faith in that.
I think you are too.
They do have like a lot of well-known actors attached to this movie, but they're
Yeah,
really
as
gonna
animal
Be...
voices.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean that's true. But like the rest of the trails are gonna be like boom, 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 name.
Oh, yeah, no,
name, to do it.
It's gonna be synced up to the blasting inspirational
Yeah.
music.
yeah.
All these names. Oh my god, the star power.
The star power.
I
in
have
this.
to see this.
I feel like in the modern, we've talked about this too, in the modern superhero era, that intellectual property, the actual idea of the superhero becomes the star, and that
It's
movie
brand
stars
driven.
are just so interchangeable. Like anybody could be plugged into that movie and have it be great. And so I think Robert Downey Jr. made that character at the beginning of this whole thing,
but he also unintentionally kind of
ruined
set
the
that
idea that somehow like people go to see the star, they don't go to see the star anymore with it.
That's why I still think Joker, like people love Joaquin Phoenix, but they went because it's a Joker solo movie. They didn't go to see the next Joaquin Phoenix acting powerhouse. It just happened to be a really good actor,
I think,
playing this very famous comic role.
Yeah, and I think the exception of that we talked about was like Leonardo DiCaprio is one where that's truly a star that you actually want to go see act.
Yeah.
Maybe Brad Pitt, depending upon
I'll
the
see
role.
Brad Pitt any chance I get.
But there's very few of those anymore. And I don't think Robert Downey Jr. was ever in that class of people. So
No, I mean, I feel like the first Sherlock Holmes people, because that was like one of his, if not his first major role other than Iron Man after he had become Iron Man. So yeah, I feel like his time at the top has gone away with Iron Man.
Right.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but that's totally caught me off guard, that trailer. The next one, though, Bombshell.
This is a trailer worth talking about.
So the teaser was so good. It was just the three ladies, Margot Robbie, Charlize Theron, and
Nicole Kidman
as their counterparts in the elevator, giving each other the stink eye.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Ooh, what is this?" And so with this full blown trailer now, you get kind of the backstory. It centers around this sex scandals at Fox News and its head, Roger Ailes.
Yeah, played by when John Lithgow came on screen, I was like, "Whoa!"
Gosh.
Oh, it like kind of scared me.
Well, he looks so different. Not John Lithgow's always looked a little older, but he's
just huge.
He gained a lot of weight to
He's
be Roger
huge.
Ailes, and then
I love John Lithgow though.
Oh, he's so good.
But I don't know if I want to love Roger Ailes.
You don't want to love Roger Ailes.
No. That's not what we're saying here.
Yeah.
No, I know.
But then you get the performances of all the ladies, and you get a better sense of how where their characters plug into this now. This Bombshell
Nicole
story.
Kidman is Gretchen Carlson, I believe. Charlize Theron is Megyn Kelly, and I can't remember who Margot Robbie is.
Her name is just Kayla.
Is she like a fictional character?
She's a fictional
I know
character.
that Kate McKinnon's character is made up for the movie.
Yeah. But I feel like it would be somebody like a Tommy Lauren or however you say her name.
Lauren.
Lauren.
I don't know.
Tommy. Whatever it is.
But no, I thought that the overall tone of this was much more clear because that teaser was great, but it was, just like one long shot. But this, because it's from the director of like the Austin Powers movies, and this pretty bad movie called The Campaign with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. That was also kind of like a political thing.
I thought that one was really funny.
But it's written by one of the writers of The Big Short, so it's just interesting to me that there's more of these. Yeah, there's more of these like prolific comedy directors taking these kind of satirical but still serious political kind of takedown type movies. I feel like that's a good pairing, and this trailer totally sold me.
I don't think, and what I like about the trailers, I don't think it's attacking Fox News, the company, or the network. I feel like it is really concentrating on the characters.
Well, it's concentrating on the characters and the story that, happened to be at Fox News.
It really happened. And it took Roger Ailes down, and he lost his position in that company, and then he passed away shortly after that.
How convenient.
How convenient.
I thought that the use of bad guy was a little on the nose.
Thank you.
But, that
was my one complaint.
It fit the trailer to me. I was like, okay.
It's I don't know. Like I hate it.
He's a bad guy. They're being bad.
I mean, you
bad guys.
You can't not say they're not bad guys. I don't know. I hate it when trailers kind of go a little on the nose when.
Like, hey, this song's
stuff.
like the biggest song on the radio, right? We're gonna put it in our trailer, and people recognize it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was an Old Time Country Road or whatever that.
Old Town Road in the Rambo trailer.
Oh God,
which that one weirdly works for me. But...
No, that one was horrible. Oh, I mean, it was still funny. But.
Yeah, for sure, it was pretty funny. I'm just excited to learn more about this story because I honestly don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, I
pay attention to Fox News.
I know about it, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how it plays out in a movie form.
Especially because all these women are still around.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing to me.
I mean, Megyn Kelly's already been asked about.
Yeah, it's so weird seeing these movies about events that are so recent.
Right.
It's like, whoa. Maybe this has happened before, but to me it feels like this hasn't really been a thing before.
And so with people that are so prolific still. So like with The Big Short, I felt like they were playing people that were always kind of background figures.
Well, and they're just...
They could be any guy.
Those issues were so nuanced and so number-centric that the average person's going to have no idea.
Right.
And they knew that. That's why they had the like Margot Robbie in a bathtub interludes kind of... Because... Yeah, who's going to be able to follow exactly what happened? But this is a much more kind of drama, gossipy kind of people.
Catfighting.
Yeah, like
it doesn't use numbers.
But it's not just generic corrupt bankers. It's like these people that everybody knows and sees on the news constantly.
There were people knew, like felt like they really knew these women.
Yeah.
And that, and Gretchen Carlson, I don't think ever really recovered after this. She lost her position at that network and
it's gonna be probably a pretty melancholy movie. As funny as parts of it will be, it's still a very serious controversy and story that happened. So
you think?
I don't know.
I don't know how bad this is gonna sound, but do you think as it gets closer to its release, like people are gonna have backlash from this movie because it may be seeming like an attack to Fox
everything
News
is gonna be bipartisan. And
a
bunch of. I mean, I'm sure Donald Trump's gonna love this movie, but like,
well, he's featured in it.
Is he?
Yeah, because it's
his bleeding out of her or whatever.
Yeah, but it's featured in the time frame of when he was campaigning to be president. So it's
we're gonna get a lot of hot takes and a lot of Twitter takes, and it's gonna be exactly like what you would think.
Yeah, that was what I was afraid you'd say.
Oh yeah,
So I guess
inevitable.
Fair warning now as the time gets closer.
I feel like people are so numb to that now. People on Twitter are just going to be like shouting into the void. Like nobody really cares.
Yeah.
7 seconds after they make their tweet, they forgot about it and they're thinking about something else. But yeah, that comes out like December, so that's probably going to be an awards contender.
Yeah, a limited release at Christmas in December, and then expanded in January.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, can't wait for this one.
Then last trailer we got, which I'm the most excited about out of the three, Peter Rabbit 2.
Did you see the first one, Cody?
Yes, I have seen the first one. I believe I took my sons to it. So cute. So cute, people.
Even though it makes fun of kids with allergies.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing.
That biggest controversy of 2018.
It makes fun of people with allergies. It was so good and cute. It didn't really.
It was so good.
Because they showed somebody having an allergic reaction on screen is not making fun of people with allergies.
No, they were saying that, like, it's okay to, like, use people's allergies against them for a joke, and people are like, kids are going to do this and they're going to end up killing other kids.
They could. I mean, it's
whoa. I mean, if you really think about it, I guess, yeah.
I mean, kids will do that, but kids are also the worst.
It's like thinking a little bit too
not
deep
because
into
of Peter Rabbit, voiced by James Corden.
They're just children are unpredictable. In fact, we have really good friends whose daughter has a severe peanut allergy, and my sons accidentally gave her a cookie because they were just nice kids and wanted to share their cookie. Ooh. And she had an allergic reaction. It just happens.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be bad kids that do it. It could be actually really nice kids.
Yeah.
Just wanting to share.
But that being said, kids are the worst.
Yeah.
This trailer, though, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. It's a totally harmless trailer. I mean...
Unless if they make fun of people with allergies.
I was telling Kyle that I feel like... I mean, I didn't see the first one, but I feel like in the trailer there was similar slapstick stuff. I feel like these two movies are just like the perfect excuse to just throw Domhnall Gleeson around like a rag doll.
I have to admit, I laughed out loud in my office at that part at the end of the trailer where Domhnall Gleeson is like, let's roll down the hill. Go ahead, frolic with them. And then he goes crazy, and then it cuts to the like a GoPro view of his face as he's doing it.
Yeah, I kind of laughed at that too. That was so bizarre.
Everything Domhnall Gleeson did just made me laugh.
Yeah.
I think he just knows what movie he's in, so he's just gonna ham it up.
He's just having fun with it. Maybe he's making it for like his
him yelling
niece or something.
Him yelling at Peter Rabbit, just being like, "I hate you, Peter." Like I forget what he says, but he's just
like, "I'm talking to you." He's
yelling at all of
Peter
us.
Rabbit.
Yeah, don't do anything while I'm like I don't know.
He's yelling at all of us.
Yeah.
No, I mean you specifically.
Yeah,
Peter. You specifically.
He just really gets into it, and I don't know. Something about that did make me laugh.
Yeah, I mean,
so if anything, maybe the adults going to take their kids to this will see the same thing that I did.
I like
that being like the funniest part of it.
I like the story. It's like a tale as old as time that Peter Rabbit kind of runs away and tries to live on his own and find himself in the city.
Prodigal son.
And then he gets mixed up with a bad rabbit who's not going to be his friend at the end.
No. But he doesn't know that yet.
No, he doesn't know that yet.
He's got to learn it the hard way.
I wouldn't be surprised if the friend doesn't steal his coat and pretend to be him.
Donald Gleason's going to end up being the true friend that he's always had.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion that rabbit who says he's Peter's father's friend is actually his father, but he's not a good father.
No, I think he's going to steal Peter's spot because he's like, oh, I've got a semi-celebrity and a cushy...
How would he steal Peter's spot?
By taking his jacket.
Does rabbits look the same?
They look the same.
Even other rabbits can recognize each other.
They all kind of look the
You're
same.
Peter, right?
No,
he's like, yes.
The other rabbits know, but the humans don't know.
I think that would...
Donald Gleason would know.
And I feel like Rose
I feel
Byrne...
like he would be the one that would know.
It seems like Rose Byrne loves those rabbits so much that she makes books off of them that she would know, like, who Peter Rabbit is. Right?
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll
have to watch the movie and see.
Sounds like a pretty complicated plot filled with twists and turns.
Could be. I hope that's what the story is.
I'm probably not going to see it.
I mean,
but I can't complain. I mean, the trailer is the most inoffensive thing I've ever seen.
Until
it was
and
cute.
I laughed.
It made you laugh.
I laughed at 2 points because of Donald Gleason's physical acting.
Yeah, slapstick. It can make it.
Slapstick is old, like we were saying, but it's kind of timeless.
It's kind of timeless.
That's why Looney Tunes
in perfect
is amazing.
doses, it's like it's funny.
Looney Tunes
like a good
wasn't
fart.
the right kind of slapstick. I feel like slapstick doesn't work for animated characters. It has to be humans.
Tom and Jerry.
I don't like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, but that's like the most eternal, timeless
cartoon.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work now. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it works now.
I don't think kids like Tom and Jerry now.
We're about to find out.
There's no way to know what kids like now.
There's no way to know.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube watching weird, messed up kid stuff with like syringes.
Oh God, are we getting in that conversation again?
It's true. I mean, that's what they watch.
Did you find a scary syringe video?
Oh, I've seen a bunch of syringe videos.
For those of you that don't know, Eric has just this phobia of needles.
Oh, it's severe.
It's severe phobia. I found this out when I had to go get my flu shot, and I was telling him about it.
Ugh. I don't even like picturing it when people are talking about it.
Yeah, but I'm like the exact opposite. Like I like watching the needle go in. I could do it to myself.
When I was in like middle school or maybe like the beginning of high school, like a couple of my friends just thought it was hilarious to tease me about it by like slapping their like armpits to like get the veins to pop up. I'm like, that doesn't bother me, but it was just kind of obnoxious. They'd be like, look at us, we're gonna pop our veins up. It's like, no.
Good one, guys.
Yeah, but they would just keep doing it. And we're like, what? But
they probably just look ridiculous. Just
yes. I was like, you know what you look like right now? Us needle phobes get no respect.
No. Do you get upset
Eric.
when they put needle things on the screen? Like,
yes,
they're disrespecting me by showing me this.
I'm just like, why does every movie or show have to do the macro shot of the penetration? I'm like,
next time that happens,
if I see a show or a movie where like somebody's like shooting up heroin or something, and it's just like a wide shot, that would be my favorite movie.
I can't even tell you the last movie where I saw somebody shooting up drugs in it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
I steer clear of those movies.
Oh, well, I've seen a few.
Gross, Kyle and Eric.
Yeah, Kyle. Gross.
I'm not even a part of this.
Get out of here. Get your mind out of the gutter. Okay. Well, that's it for the trailers.
Yeah. So, yay.
I'm excited for Peter Rabbit too.
I like Domhnall enough that I'm not going to see it.
You're not going to see it. I will take my children to it.
At least I got the laugh.
Yeah, I had a nice little laugh.
Domhnall made me laugh.
All right. So we get talk about the news features this week. We Kyle has written a nice article about Martin Scorsese's hot take on streaming in the industry.
Very hot take, apparently.
Yeah, sizzling.
Take us back to when this all started, Kyle. What set this off?
What's the backstory here?
I guess it came from one of the first quotes he did while on some interview or junket for the Irishman. And of course, someone asked him about, like, what do you like Marvel movies? They're the
Are you ever gonna direct a Marvel?
Yeah, are you ever gonna direct a Marvel movie? And he responds by saying, I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema. Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well as they are, with actors doing the best they can under circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of humans, human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being.
Preach.
Yeah, and then after more interviews and junkets, like, he pretty much...
he was just kind of doubling down.
He doubles down. Another quote of his was, "Theaters have become amusement parks. That is all fine and good, but don't invade everything else in that sense. This is fine and good for those who enjoy those type of films. And by the way, knowing what goes into them now, I admire what they do. It's not my kind of thing. It's simply not. It's creating another kind of audience that thinks cinema is that." And then
Preach.
Then more quotes like, it's not cinema, it's something else, and we shouldn't be invaded by
those are
them.
his main points, and he just kind of kept doubling down.
Yeah, which I give him props for. Like, I'm glad that he's not like, oh, I didn't mean to offend. Like, no, he's like, that's just what I think.
I mean, I kind of agree with him.
I definitely agree with him in that sense.
I
fully agree with him. The problem I had was that he blamed movie theaters for allowing that.
Yeah,
that was
I feel
my
like he
problem, too.
unintentionally did.
No, he said, and movie theaters need to start showing different movies.
And
they do.
We do.
Yeah.
But they also have to keep the lights on.
And
so they have to keep making them fun amusement parks, quote unquote.
Because he knows he can't control audience tastes, but somehow the theater is not the gatekeeper to that. The theater is merely the venue.
Yeah, that was basically the gist of my article, was that I just found it annoying that he's thinking like it's a theater's responsibility to, like, make sure people go see the deep character pieces that are truly around instead of Marvel movies. And it's like, well, no, since, like, theaters got made, like, the crux of how they stay in business is mostly because of blockbusters, and people enjoy a good blockbuster. Yeah. I mean, I agree, like, more people should go see other types of movies in theaters too, but I feel like need to keep the lights on.
I feel like he wasn't thinking that hard about it. I don't think he had this calculated, like, he's harboring this resentment towards the theater, like, that he's actively thinking about. I think just in the moment, I don't know. People want to find some sort of explanation or like a scapegoat, and he's probably, since he's more on the creative side, he probably doesn't know all the business and the inner workings and how, like, the distribution process and all of that stuff. So to him,
you think he'd have a clue? You think most directors would have a clue about?
I don't think
that.
I really don't think they do.
Some of them do, but a lot of them are probably like, they make the movie, they edit the movie, and then once it's done, they hand it off to the businessy people.
Yeah. I really don't think they know how the distribution side of it works.
I'm not saying that I agree with him. I don't agree with him on that part really at all, but I don't think it was this conscious, like, dig at the theaters. I feel like he was just kind of ignorant about that.
I feel like he had a little bit of a dig at the theaters because right now he has his mea opus, whatever, Irishman, and he wanted it in theaters, and Netflix promised it'd be in theaters, and then theaters balked at Netflix's window, and now it's not in theaters except for a few independent locations pre-selected by Netflix.
Yeah.
So
LA and New York.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's sort of feeling the slight of that, and probably blames theaters, although I think in his mind he's probably blaming the big chains and not independents.
Yeah.
But I also think that he really just doesn't understand distribution, because that's the producer's role in the whole thing, is to work with the studio on the distribution plan, because that's the money side of things.
I don't know if he's the producer on The Irishman. I don't know. But a lot of times,
I'm not familiar. I don't know.
A lot of times people will technically be credited as a producer.
Right, when they don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they know a lot.
Like executive produced by. What did you really do?
I think what he is grasping at overall, and that what he maybe himself failed to realize, is that his issue with what is shown in theaters is more of a commentary on the changing landscape that streaming has brought in, because theaters 30 years ago showed these movies and it was never an issue. But now with the way media dollars are consumed, and the way streaming has taken the value out of those films,
plus the constant success of, stuff like Marvel movies, especially.
Turn the theaters into event spaces with event titles, and has really taken all of the theatrical business out of the mediocre, like middle of the road films where you did have more of that exploratory of human emotion. So like those films that may not have grossed a ton but did really good, like Early Evening grosses, they're just going away because people look at those films now and say, I can get this on stream. This is streaming value film.
Yeah.
This isn't theatrical value film. And so you're getting this diversion of the of quality cinema into event type cinema, which can still be quality. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was still quality and event.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
And then everybody else's kind of.
Well, I think it's also it's just a natural extension from that. Like it's not said as much anymore, even though it's still the case. But a lot of, like a couple years ago, people were saying that television is where these sorts of stories are.
Yeah.
These long form, character driven, more complex, psychologically driven narratives.
I think TV came into that recently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because people were talking about
it.
Back like with shows like Breaking Bad and Mad Men. That's kind of when it really started gaining steam, and then streaming, when that took off, that just created an avenue for more of those types of stories to be made.
Right.
So then people maybe who would have made a movie version of that type of narrative were like, actually over here, not only can I do this with a lot more freedom, but I have 8, 9, 10, 11 hours of time to tell my story. So then that kind of leaves a void there in the movies, and then obviously the event stuff just kind of fills it in.
I would also say too that streaming and Netflix also had a lot of money. I think there's been a money issue on the studio side. Their financing has become more and more difficult, and as studios vertically integrate, they actually don't have the budgets you would think they would have.
That was Scorsese's big main thing for going with Netflix, because like originally, of course, he didn't want to. He would want to go the traditional route, but Netflix, just at the end of the day, they can afford to give him the money and the freedom
to do what he
wanted to do. That this traditional routes just couldn't.
I think Paramount was interested, but I think they had already spent a lot of money on Ang Lee's film.
And how that turned out.
And they didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the market is truly there to justify the expense on the technical side for these films. And I think Ang Lee's Gemini Man is a perfect example of that. It was a mediocre story, amazing, stellar special effects, like groundbreaking, but that's just not enough to get people into the theater if your story wasn't up to par. And so
people are numb to special effects.
I think you were never going to make the effects budget back with that film. It was always ever going to be a story at a certain level.
I can't remember the last time the overall public opinion was like these. Like, it was probably Avatar.
I think it was Avatar, but
because ever since then, people are like, yeah, cool, it has good special effects. That's a given. Every single movie these days has, technically really great special effects. I kind of feel like
the only thing that Avatar had different, I'm not even saying the story was better, because the story was pretty generic.
It was everything it needed to be. It was,
But I think the leap from just 2D special effects to 3D was a big leap at that time.
Yeah,
and
it created the whole world.
Right.
I tend to forget about this too, but everything that we see nowadays, it started with Avatar.
Right.
Yeah,
and people
definitely.
there was like a whole generation of people that hadn't enjoyed a 3D film. And
people think of 3D as like the red and blue cardboard things that like cut your nose.
Yep.
Do they not use those anymore?
They haven't used those
no,
forever.
they don't use the red and blue.
Did they not? Okay,
No.
It's been a long time since I've seen a movie in 3D, so I honestly
I haven't used those in
they're
a long
They're
time.
regular glasses,
Oh, are
special
they?
glasses now.
Yeah,
maybe
like
I don't know if I
with depth filters.
now I feel ridiculous because maybe I have seen one
a
recently.
3D movie in like over 10 years.
Maybe not that long, but I probably just haven't even thought about it, to be honest. Like, I was
Yeah.
probably more mad that I was going to see a movie in 3D.
No, the red and blue
than
was like a
the
thing in
red
the
and blue
80s.
tint.
but then it kind of died
Little
off,
cardboard.
and then they kind of brought it back as like a novelty. But people were like,
okay, now
Spy Kids
really
3D. They had the red and blue.
Right.
That was like the last movie I remember seeing in 3D that had the red and blue.
I think you're probably right then.
So Avatar was like this huge leap. Like you got these real looking glasses, and it was real people, and you saw huge depth of field.
Yeah.
And so
crazy.
Whereas Ang Lee's movie probably is just as high of leap, given the frame rate and the ability to digitally de-age somebody. And Will Smith is a great character for that, but that didn't change the experience of going to the movie at all.
We'll never know now.
Our theater is offering the high frame rate.
Well, he wasn't the
It is this weekend, yeah.
All right.
He wasn't the first one to de-age somebody. And so I think
this has been done for several years.
Yeah, so I don't think there was anything super special other than like, oh, you got the process right this time. And that wasn't enough to bring somebody into the theater.
Yeah.
When was Tron Legacy?
2011?
I think that sounds right. Because did they digitally recreate Jeff Bridges, or did they de-age him in that?
They de-aged him in that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's 8 years ago
2010. I was off by
9 years.
one.
That's like basically a decade ago. People have been seeing this de-aging technology.
And then the Star Wars movies had them, and the Rogue One Star Wars movie had...
Infamous now, yeah.
So, I've de-aged of a person that's deceased.
Yeah, well, they didn't even de-age him. They just recreated. They de-aged Carrie. Well, they also created Carrie Fisher from scratch.
Right.
But she looked way worse than Peter Cushing in that movie.
That one did look strange.
And you didn't need to have her face.
It's the last shot of the movie.
Hope.
It's like,
You're like, that doesn't give me hope.
That's not what I want to end the movie on.
No.
But no, I see what you're saying. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't even know if technology can advance to the point
unless
or
it's
make
virtual
a leap.
reality.
Yeah.
I think that's the next big one
going.
is that it's going to be a virtual reality film where you're sitting in the theater, but you can experience everything like with a headset on.
Would people want that though? Like, do people want to have to turn their heads and like, wait, I might be missing something behind me? Oh, wait, what? I don't
think they do, because I think virtual reality would have been here already sooner if people really wanted it.
Makes sense for games, like makes perfect sense for games, but
where
movies,
you're interacting.
Like, I feel like this is the perfect way to watch movies.
Right.
You know, just look at the screen.
Or it's gonna be like Futurama, where it's just a scary part on the internet for adult things.
I don't know.
Do we want to get into the thoughts Edward Norton had?
Yeah, I mean his statements came a little bit afterwards, but his main argument was the reason why like theater attendance is down and people are opting to stay home and watch streaming stuff is because too many theaters, like over half, just aren't giving the presentation that is promised to people. Like the image is really dim because they didn't actually check the luminosity of the bulb or the sound. The speakers are, not surround sound.
Not crisp.
Seats are gross. They haven't been kept up.
Yeah.
It's like people just don't really want to go there for that.
I think
I can attest.
I think he's right about that. I think the major theater chains trying to cut corners don't turn up the bulbs because they don't want to have to pay for so many more bulbs, and so they don't turn up the brightness.
Know, just
and
well,
then
that's the sad part is people don't realize it.
Right.
No, but if they did it the right, and that's what Edward Norton says. He's like, if they did it the right way, people would be going, "Oh, whoa, this is what it's like."
I think you're definitely seeing it. I do on a certain level with our clients who, the ones that have converted to luxury recliners, increase their business.
Yeah, it's not a big number of them doing it, but I think it's gonna keep bumping up slowly but surely.
Everybody that has done it has increased their business.
Yeah.
3D has not increased business. New
people
sound
don't like
system.
3D, I feel like.
Yeah.
For a long time, people
new sound systems, different screens. None of that stuff increased business. The digital systems didn't increase business. What increases business is what gives somebody a better experience. You put different food in the concession stand and like more upscale foods. You add beer and wine and you add luxury recliners and your business goes up. I've never seen anybody who's lost seats converting to recliners because they're bigger. You lose seat counts. and not increase business.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
So he's right.
We've talked about this before, like the seats, the room that you're going to be sitting in. That's the very first thing you notice when you go into a theater, and whether it's conscious or not, you know, if it's like a luxury kind of presentation that you can't get at home, you're going to register that and be like, okay, this is like, this is what it's like to go to the movie. I like this. This is something different.
People like the big screen. So if you can make all the other common denominators the same, the seating, the concessions, the things that you are competing with in your living room, but the one thing your living room will never ever have is the big screen.
Yep.
And so if you can make everything else just as nice as the theater and have a ticket price that matches something that's not going to break the bank for people, they will go in. And I think that Edward Norton doesn't also talk about ticket pricing, although I think the tone of his comments makes it seem like they're paying too much for what they're getting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the whole package is not worth it, and people know that.
But the problem is with that is that theaters don't get as much of the box as people assume. And so to make any money, they're doing it off concessions and other things. And I feel like that model needs to be reversed a little bit. Yeah. And as streaming becomes more popular and we're getting less and less product in the theaters, I feel like I don't know. I'd like to see the theaters be able to back off on their film rental to the studio, saying, hey, I'm not going to pay you as much because I don't get as much from you. But I think the opposite is going to happen. I think studios are going to cut the supply down so much that the demand on the theater side is going to,
we need
the price demand will rise.
Yeah. That is interesting. That makes a good segue to our last topic, though, about poor old superintelligence, which I doubt many people have even heard of.
Right. Superintelligence was a Warner Brothers film at Christmas, starring
Melissa McCarthy
and directed by her husband, Ben Falcone.
Yeah.
That guy. And it now officially went to HBO Max.
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it's another one. Okay.
So Warner's isn't going to have a Christmas title, I don't think.
For this year?
For this year.
Yeah.
I'll
that is
double check, but that sounds right.
Ever happened before? Is that rare?
Maybe, but I think it's
probably
rare.
Never happened where they sold their Christmas movie to streaming, though.
Right.
I mean, they have that Richard Jewell movie coming close to Christmas, but it's not like a family picture.
No, I mean, that's going to be like Clint Eastwood's previous releases where, like, whatever that, the 15, 17 to Paris.
Paris, yeah.
Like,
it'll just be okay.
It'll be there.
Yeah.
But it's not like a event Christmas movie where you can count.
Right.
It wasn't
you can
like
depend
Aquaman.
on making a lot of money.
It's no Aquaman.
No Aquaman.
Still never seen Aquaman.
Eric.
I don't want to.
You're fine.
You don't want to at this point?
Superhero movies.
You don't. Honestly,
Ooh.
coming from a guy who likes
cleansed.
these movies, like it's fine if you don't. You're
I know
not
exactly what it would be like.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it would be like.
Well, there's other reasons to go to it, but they're not your reasons. They're mom reasons.
I know.
But anyway, super intelligence. I mean,
I would say
it's kind of a bummer, but these movies by Falcone are not very good, so I'm kind of like, you can take this one.
Melissa McCarthy is great. She's not directed by her husband. She needs another person or another director to bring the best of her talent out.
Yeah, for sure. Whether it's comedy or dramatic roles.
Yeah.
And maybe Warner Bros. Finally realized it after seeing the movie, and they're like, there's just no point in spending marketing dollars on this, even to show in theaters. So let's just throw it on.
Well,
our
like
service.
most of these things, the most interesting part of this isn't that it was sold to streaming. Because I mean, yeah, like you said, this is if Warner's was going to sell one of their movies to streaming, it probably would be this one. Yeah. But Cody was saying earlier before we started the podcast, kind of. I mean, I can't summarize what you said.
Right. So this is kind of what I've always been saying about streaming is that streaming was never going to destroy theaters. What streaming is going to do, and we touched about this a little bit earlier, is that there's just going to be this divergence of product going to streaming and then product going to theaters. And what it's going to do is make theaters more event centers for event type.
Or amusement parky.
And and just limit the overall product the theaters have access to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be that product's going away. It's just going to be limited. So all those mid-tier, mid-range films that would have done great on matinees are now just going to be, it's just reinforcing the idea that they're streaming movies. And now, and these companies need that streaming content. So they're going to start pulling from their theatrical slate to put into streaming to, I would say to have points of time within the year where there's a decent film on their platforms.
Yeah.
And then the other points will be theatrical films. So I think in the future you're going to see more Marvel and DC and superhero movies in the theater and more of these character pieces on streaming.
Heard a little Scorsese coming out
here.
Now
people are going to be like, Joker proved that people want these complicated character-driven movies, and people are going to be like, what are you complaining about? We have the complicated character-driven movies. It's like, yeah, but they're all just comic book movies, really.
Right.
Like, Joker's not one of those movies.
No.
God. I would have no problem if just the next thing was here, but it's been so long. What if the next thing never comes? They say nothing lasts forever, but
it feels like forever.
We live in weird times, Stranger things have happened. Maybe this is movies now.
The next thing will come when the rate of return on these superhero movies isn't what it used to be.
It'll probably come when all of these fanboys and girls
they'll just
finally kind of grow out of it if they ever do.
They'll stop.
And then the
eventually.
next generation will be like, those are dad movies. Like,
I feel,
the next thing
honestly, that is very plausible.
Yeah, the next thing will come from whatever they are into, like meme movies.
I think it's gonna be meme movies, like TikTok.
I don't know what that is gonna be, but actually, when I think about it, yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the next thing.
It's gonna be like one of those.
It's so abstract. I couldn't tell you what it would look like. But
the Lego movie or the Emoji movie, but just with
no,
like that.
Those are a bunch of old, out of touch dudes in a boardroom trying to. What are the kids into these days? It's like,
like the streamer, like the ones like PewDiePie and
He's an old streamer now.
Right.
Jeez,
well, but I would think that enough of the audience would recognize the name that it'll be like them just doing like an hour or 90 minutes of that.
I mean, they already stream for 8+ hours a day.
Yeah.
And people
That's
watch.
what the movie will be. Is just them.
Weird.
Now that sounds like a nightmare.
And it'll be streamed into the theaters. It won't be like pre-cut, edited. It'll just be like, okay, he's gonna start his streaming. Everybody get to the theater.
Yeah,
I'll take it if it means that comic movies can finally just take a back seat.
No.
I know I sound very.
I just want something new
because I'm a fan of them, but even I don't want those to be replaced by streamers. Like, that doesn't sound
I just want
enjoyable.
something new. It's not going to be streamer. They're not going to leave their streaming platforms. But the abstract concept of, meme movies, I feel like that's not that far-fetched.
I don't think they'll leave their streaming platforms. I think that because of streaming, the theaters will just pull into it. Like, it'll be... Or
You'll,
the studios...
be sitting in the auditorium and see the giant screen, somebody, moving their cursor up and typing in Twitch.com.
Well, I think it'll be the studios will eventually own platforms and have. What if we get back to the day where the studios own the stars because they own the platforms?
History repeats itself.
Yeah, maybe that's what we're gonna see.
A lot
of studios already make sure to try and get some
it's kind of already happening. You see,
they don't own them, but they try to make sure, hey, we'll keep.
I mean, you kind of see it with Ninja now. Microsoft bought him out, and I mean, who knows specifically what's going on behind the scenes?
Ninja is a streamer.
Who was on Twitch. It was Twitch's #1 streamer.
He's on The Masked Singer. People know who he is.
He was on The Masked Singer?
Yeah, he was the ice cream cone.
Oh. Could he actually sing?
I didn't watch that part. I really didn't want to. I can only handle so much cringe and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But... I mean, it wouldn't be out of the question if, Disney, I'm imagining, Disney headquarters, and there's, these rows and rows of rooms where streamers are, just
performing,
plugged into the wall, and Disney's, bringing them food and bringing them, a bucket to poop in.
Yeah.
Just keep streaming. Keep streaming. We'll keep giving you everything you want.
Right.
And you'll be like, yes,
money.
Mickey. Yes.
So Ninja went over to Microsoft because he had something like 1 million.
Some ridiculous amount of money.
1 million followers. And so Microsoft wasn't investing in him for his content. They were investing in him for his followers, hoping to launch their whatever their platform is.
And I mean, Mixer has been around for years now, but it's been kind of a joke.
Stagnant.
It still is kind of a joke.
It is a joke.
Because
even
this whole Ninja deal really didn't work out like they thought it would.
No.
But the point is, like, there's no way Ninja would have gone over to Mixer if he didn't get, like,
a huge payday.
$1 bajillion.
Yeah.
But you saying, like, movie studios, that would be interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Owning streamers.
Well, I read this really interesting.
That sounds really dystopian.
Sort of interesting
right?
article about TikTok and how the short form, like
Quibi is coming.
Katzenberg has developed Quibi, which is short form streaming.
Yep.
Stories.
They got huge names attached to that already.
Yeah, so because they think attention spans are just going to get so small that short form is the way to go.
That's sadly probably true.
And so you're already seeing people from the theatrical studio side investing.
Yeah, it's had like billions of dollars in investments, not even out yet.
The stars of tomorrow will be the teenage streamers of today.
Yeah.
That was like
That's
the
so
headline.
Weird. Well, I know people, I'm just going to use Joaquin Phoenix because we talked about him recently, but people like of that caliber are already signed and like filming things for Quibi. Like,
really?
Yeah, like these big name people are already attached. So when this whatever it is comes out, there's gonna be these like high profile actors and actresses in it, which is just bizarre to me. It's like, there used to be a time where actors like, I don't want to go to TV because that's kind of a drop,
right?
But now they're like, I want to be in a Snapchat movie. It's like, whoa, what is going on?
And they are starting to get into social media and realizing the power that their celebrity has in producing endorsements. So it'll just be them streaming on their TikTok or whatever, their little videos like, I'm getting my hair done and I used blah, 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 blah hair stuff. And then they got paid like $1 million because they probably didn't even actually use it.
That's already how it works with streamers. Like, I mean, again, to go back to Ninja, like Red Bull owns him. Like every shot of him in any public appearance whatsoever.
He's drinking Red Bull.
He's drinking Red Bull. He has a Red Bull headband, Red Bull shirt in his streams. He has his Red Bull mini fridge filled with Red Bull behind him at all times. It's like, it's just so weird.
Any sponsors that want to sponsor this podcast will add a video form and we can have your product in the background.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you already see kind of like
we'll sucker in.
With bigger YouTube channels, they always have like their sponsor, and a lot of times you start realizing it's the same sponsor making the rounds. Like there's this game called Raid. It's like some mobile game, but so many different YouTube channels are sponsored by it, and they're all giving it their shout out.
Yeah,
and they get so much money from that, so much.
But I think it's because they directly influence so many people, because I find that studios today, and this is where another issue we're having, is that studios had their traditional tracking measures that aren't translating anymore.
No, it won't mean anything.
There's no way to track interest and like know-how of these films, and because the people aren't going through traditional means. Like they could track you through the TV sets, they could track you through radio, they could track those things. They can't track you online streaming, especially because you have anonymous profiles, so they're not getting as much demographic information. They're finding their sources, they're paying Google for it, so don't let me mislead you on that. They are getting your info and your data. But
I'm just amazed at how long it's taken these more traditional methods to catch up to like how people are doing it now. It's I don't know, thinking about these streamers and like meme movies, I really think that's probably,
I think it would help if
movies are just gonna go away.
I think it would help if theaters started to create more presence online and started creating venue brands for their theater. Like all theaters are different. I've never been in two theaters except for chains. Like I'm talking the independents. What I think different. Will survive into the future is the independent. It's the theater downtown that was once an opera house that converted to a movie theater that has these that
just
looks
going
amazing.
to it's a novelty in of itself.
Yeah. if they just played that up and branded that experience, like you can see this movie anywhere or this video anywhere, but you can't see it in a 200-year-old like opera house conversion. Like those are the experiences that younger people today are looking for. They want to add that value on. They don't want to just go to the movie. They want to go to the movie, sip a glass of wine, and look at ornate wood carvings. I mean, they just
so they can live stream it to their followers.
Yeah, so they can Instagram it, like ka-ching in the background. I mean, if that's the behavior if that's what people are doing, that's the behavior that they're after, then you need to, as much as you don't like it, accept it.
Just bite your tongue and
find
just
out how you can
this
use
is how
that.
it is.
Yeah. I agree. Just figure out how you can use it, because I feel like the little guys are in the best positions with the most unique, interesting theaters to be able to do that in the future. And the most, if Hollywood doesn't want to give them their big blockbusters, if they're not going to get Frozen 2 this Thanksgiving, what else can they do to bring people in over that time?
Yeah. The future. The 2020s. The rise of the meme movies.
The meme movies. You heard it here first, people.
Oh, you beat me by a second.
Yeah.
Predicting. I am
gonna say.
Predicting the future right now. I'm pretty confident.
I am confident.
I'll keep
too.
thinking about it. Maybe form a little bit more concrete idea of what a meme movie would actually be.
We should each write about what we think it'll be. Like
it's just so abstract, because memes and meme culture and the internet in general, it's all so abstract,
right?
Buried in miles deep irony. Like it's probably wouldn't even resemble a movie like we think of movies now.
Everyone
crazy.
just comes out here, comes out of the theater scene, and whoa. Just mind blown.
This is crazy. I love it. I'm so excited.
I think the streaming thing is that's what I'm gonna stick with. It's gonna be the
streaming's not going away.
Today.
It's not going away.
It's gonna be the stars of tomorrow.
It's gonna be interesting when you
see you later.
They're not gonna have any talent.
So long.
They're not gonna be classically trained actors.
People are totally okay with that. They just watch people being themselves.
I feel like when you put them in a movie, though, they have to have some.
Oh, it's usually pretty cringy.
Yeah. Like I just saw where Lala Anthony is getting trounced because she can't act in whatever TV show she's in right now. I feel like
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
You just said a bunch of words that I don't know what.
Is she a streamer?
She used to be married to Carmelo Anthony. I think they're divorcing now. She was on MTV.
Player.
I'm pretty sure she was like a VJ back in the day.
A what?
A VJ, like a video.
No.
Well, yeah, she has one of those.
A video journalist?
You know how like they were not DJs at MTV, but VJs because it was video music.
Music videos?
Yeah, and they were like, they were video jockeys.
Curators?
Yeah,
like playlists
video
of music
jockeys,
videos?
VJs.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
Gosh, you make me so self-conscious say VJ.
I thought you were saying like VJ.
Sorry, you were just saying
VJJ.
It was just a whole bunch of gibberish to me.
Wait, I was already lost, and then all of a sudden I hear VJ. I'm like,
okay,
you heard a Carmelo and a Lala, Hullabaloo.
The point was she's not a classically trained actor. She's in a TV show. It's very apparent that she's not trained.
Oh,
what TV show is it?
I have to go look it up. Look it up, Kyle. You have a computer.
Probably dumb show.
Lala Anthony TV show.
No, I mean things like that are so obvious, and then within seconds the internet will rip it apart.
Right.
So, you can't.
Is it Power?
It's not as simple as just putting a streamer in a movie.
I don't even know.
That's not how it works because they can't act. People are gonna hate it. They're gonna make fun of it.
That's why I'm saying it wouldn't be putting streamers in films. They have to be streamers on their streams.
Mm-hmm.
Within context, though, it'll be certain streams. It won't just be somebody playing a video game, but it might be just the chit chat stream, and somebody's talking about
just chatting.
Yeah, the just chatting.
IRL.
And then it'll be like an hour of just chatting where they have a list of topics and then product placements. Yeah.
No thanks.
Or to be like the
PewDiePie
type where he goes out and does pranks and stuff.
I hate pranks.
Ashton Kutcher's probably already on it.
Yeah. Hopefully
he punks people.
He doesn't
prank
people.
Oh yeah. He
There's
used
a difference.
to.
He used to. Now he's on to bigger and better things.
No, he's still punking people. Just with technology.
Just a punk, bro.
He's like, let's like have P. Diddy put his phone number out and he'll text you back.
Actually, Kutcher does do that with his phone. I think it's like not a burner phone, but it's just like a separate phone.
It's not even a real phone. It's an app. And he just puts out a number, and the app is the one texting you back.
I remember that.
It's fake, and P. Diddy just did it, and it's all part of this app called Community, where stars can go throw out a false number. People think,
like
and
that
it's like
Jeremy Renner app.
Yeah, it's exactly.
What is the Jeremy Renner?
That was
so
the Jeremy
cringy.
Renner app, and then people started realizing that some of the replies were coming from other people.
Yeah.
So they were
people brigaded and just hacked and trolled that app into the ground.
Yeah. So
it's basically like a social media app, but just for Jeremy Renner, where you could you pay money and you can see his posts.
Right, but he had all these
it was the most self-righteous, horrible
had these, like,
thing
cringy
ever.
posts, but he also, the base of it was, and P. Diddy's doing the same thing. The base of it is that you text, and he was supposed to like text you back. Well, it's not
personal
really
relationship.
Yeah, it wasn't really him. And I think in the Jeremy Renner app, it was actually other people also like, hey, what are you doing?
They would, and then of course people started posting like really racist, horrible things, but it looked like Jeremy Renner was doing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's horrible, but it's so
he had
funny.
to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But
what did
other
you think
stars
was going
are
to happen,
doing
Jeremy?
it. And Ashton Kutcher,
weird.
I think, is an investor in that.
I think so. He was like the
proponent of
first
that.
guy I saw that was doing it.
Yeah. But it just is trying to get your demographic information, your contact information, so that they can send you fake like text messages and little videos. But like P. Diddy's, if you call the number, it's like, hey, I'm in the studio right now laying down some Nat tracks. Like it's so cringy.
Just about getting ready to go pump out some bars.
That's amazing.
That's if you call the number.
Oh,
if you
God.
text the number, like immediately it's like, hey, I'm busy right now. Like super fast.
People's need for like vicarious celebrity lifestyles it knows no bounds.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just can't imagine how many people fell for this. Like if a celebrity was like, I want to get closer to my fans and then actually throw out their number, you would be like, what's wrong with you? Like you're losing it.
Oh, I thought it was
Jeremy Renner's losing it.
Okay.
I feel like Jeremy Renner's going crazy.
No, I don't think he's going.
I think he's going
Well, he
crazy.
did have a role in Arctic Dogs.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
God, that movie looks
anybody who would have made that Jeremy Renner app a thing, I don't know. Come on. It's worth looking into if you just want to just cringe nonstop.
Yeah.
Because, people, I feel like most people think they like Jeremy Renner. Like, oh, he seems like a nice guy. I like some of the movies he's in. But this, it's like, what? Who does this? It's hilarious.
His posts were really bad, too. It was like...
Well, most of them were just like him pointing the camera at his face. Like, it's like, what's up, my Renner heads? Like, you're with me always. I'm just here on the set of blah, 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 about to go do a shoot. Like, I love you all.
But I feel like this is...
And you pay money for it.
Traditional actors trying to get into that streaming
Yes,
space.
it's
but they don't know how to
awful.
do it. Because
it.
They're too old and they've never had those experiences.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I could do this myself.
And they don't know how to use their social media platforms to promote themselves. And they don't know, and they feel very uncomfortable having that privacy wall taken down. Like, there's several comedians that are very good at social media, but there's no privacy. Like,
you got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah. And I feel like traditional actors, there's always been that arm's length privacy. Like, you don't get to see me in my actual element because I need to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And by doing this, you can't be all things to all people. And so it's going to affect your acting career. And they just need to know that.
Stay in your lane, Jeremy Renner.
So they were trying to, do it half-assed a little bit.
And it showed.
I'm here. You can look in. I'm on the set. Look at me. But you can't really know what movie I am or what scene. And is it really even me right now?
Then you just come across as, just the most self-absorbed, egotistical, vain person.
Right. That doesn't own up to it.
Oh man, I lost so much respect for Jeremy Renner. He's just hilarious to me now.
Right.
Ooh.
Does he feel like
lost a fan?
Do you think he's more old man to you? Like, this is what the kids want from me.
So old man.
Yeah,
so old man.
That could be the case.
Rather than he's cool Hawkeye.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, you were in a couple Avengers movies, but you made an app about yourself that charged people money to look at your pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could talk about this forever, but that's pretty much. I
the
feel like all we
future
have.
of theatrical distribution.
Oh man, I love
Renner
it.
heads.
I love what this world is. The direction we're going, as absurd as it is.
Just along for the ride at this point.
It scares me, man.
Oh, of course, it should scare
Do you
but you
think
gotta
that there's ever
embrace
going to
it.
be a day where people are just like, I've had enough, click, and they just turn it off? I'm already at that point. And when I get
They
home,
will
my
for a
phone
little
turns
bit. It'll be
off.
like people will be like, I'm gonna quit technology for a month.
Yeah.
And then they'll say like, it was amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever done. And then they're going to go right back to it.
People that do that, that's so strange for me to hear. Because, like, before we have all this stuff, like, you've gone years without it.
But it's different because once you have it, you know.
But now people are like, oh my gosh, I never realized what life was like. And it's like, really? Like,
you know how
you
look
say
down
you
or
say
look up
that,
every
but
once
like,
in a while.
I agree with that first part. It's easy to say that, but like, it's like a human nature thing. Like once you have a thing, once you know what you can do with it, you don't really go back.
I'm struggling
like,
with the
people
convenience.
used to walk everywhere. They didn't have cars.
Right.
Like, why can't you just not have a car for a month?
Well, sure.
It's like,
because people had
that's
horses.
just how the world works. That's how technology
works. But just
works.
them being, I guess it's just the preachy part about it, where it's just like, oh my gosh, I never.
How did I live without tweeting or without taking pictures of all my meals?
Yeah, or just on the opposite end, where they're like, I can't believe how great life is without technology. And it's like, I mean, you knew that already before getting. I don't know. It's just weird stuff to me that people say stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, obviously,
it's just that awkward transition before we all become melded or morphed with our technology.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Before we all become cyborgs.
it's just weird. I don't know.
I do find like I'm really trying to not be on tech as much when I go home in the evenings,
Mm-hmm.
but I need like the convenience of the phone is the hardest thing that I'm having. Like all my other files are on my computer. I leave that at the office. I just have my phone with me. I have no computer at home. And when I want to look up something like an Amazon package came, but before I wanted to open it for my kids, I wanted to see. So there it was on my phone, checking my Amazon order. And it's like, because it was a gift for them. So I'm glad I didn't open it in front of them. It's a Christmas gift. And so it's just the convenience of it is what the hard part I'm having. I can like click off of all the social media platforms and things like that. It's the email and the other stuff.
Yeah,
that
and
is
I've never
hard.
really had a relationship with social media like at all, really.
Yeah.
But it's the other things like a little while ago I went home and I was on my computer and I just, without even realizing it, I was like doing what I do at work. I'm like, what is going on? Like looking at the same like website, like reading the articles, like, I wonder if I should write it. I'm like, I'm at home right now. What's going on? I didn't even realize it until like 10 minutes in.
Right.
It's like, whoa,
That's funny.
this is crazy.
Cut yourself off quick.
I'm one with the machine.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Sadly, that probably will happen.
Bring on the dystopia.
What are we doing this weekend? What are we seeing?
Well, I'm not seeing The Lighthouse because I didn't come here.
I told you they were probably only going 600
I know.
prints.
It was a
and
bit
then
of a leap, but
1,500
maybe.
was even a leap to bring it
Where's
here.
the closest place that has it?
Probably Salt Lake or Seattle or Denver.
I could make it.
It's worth it.
No, I have to go to Billings and fix my car again.
Oh, sad. Okay, so that's what you're doing.
Maybe my grandparents and I will see something. What are the new releases this weekend?
Maleficent.
We got Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and Zombieland Double Tap.
You could take Grandpa to Zombieland.
I don't know if you've seen the first one.
Well, I don't think you need to see the first one to know what's going on in this one.
Yeah, but you got to know all the rules.
You got to know.
I don't think the rules apply in this
know how
one.
The
these characters
title
are
of the
brought
movie is one of the
together.
rules.
They said that the zombies have evolved and that the rules might not work anymore in one of the trailers.
Ooh.
How are you not paying attention to this stuff,
I haven't watched the
Eric?
trailers. So.
They're faster, they're more agile, they're evolved zombies.
They're like zombies, but super zombies.
Yeah, they're super zombies now.
That sounds like a sequel's plot.
Plus, you get the dumb girl that doesn't follow any of the rules.
No, I will end up seeing that at some point. I like the first one enough.
Yeah.
It'll be weird to see zombies again. Just because that was the biggest thing ever, and then they just kind of went away.
Well, it's crazy because the first Zombieland came out even before
Walking
Dead or
came out 1 year after Walking Dead started.
Yeah, exactly.
So Walking Dead wasn't
zombie
the
craze
phenomenon
wasn't quite there yet. I don't think
it was building, but it was not building, but it wasn't established phenomenon.
And now the zombie franchise or zombie movies and shows or whatever are kind of dying off.
Did
and
World
now we
War
have it
Z
again.
kill zombies? Or was it Resident Evil's 5 movies or 4 movies?
No, Resident Evil was always going to be its own thing.
Genre?
Yeah.
No, I mean, World War Z was 2012, I think.
Yeah, 12 or 13.
That wasn't the last one. That was.
I almost wonder if Walking Dead kind of
Walking
made
Dead
everyone
might
else
have
be okay, let's
Walking
not
Dead's
do
a joke to everybody I know who still watches it. I've never talked to anybody who's happy that they're still watching it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still.
That was.
Well,
it's weird. Every season is I'm still watching it, or the next season is I'm still watching it. It got good again, and then it goes back and forth a lot.
I feel like you can't kill off your main characters and then have viable seasons after that.
Well, they're making that movie about the main dude.
Somehow the show does kill off main characters, and
he's it's going to be like Logan. It's no, it's not.
Logan was.
I don't believe that for a second.
They killed the main dude though.
They did, but they're making a movie about him now.
Is he going to be resurrected as a zombie?
I don't. I have never watched the show, so I have no idea.
Watched season 1 on an airplane.
I've never seen it because I think zombies are dumb. I've never liked zombies.
Sure.
I just find it absurd that something that would
they're fun to kill in video games.
That's about it. They would decompose literally in front of your eyes is somehow going to rip you apart.
You can't bring logic to zombies.
I just can't do it. I just
stop left braining your zombie movies. It's not what you're supposed to do.
I've noticed that we have no thoughts about Maleficent.
I didn't see the first one.
I was wondering why they even made this because the first one was good. It was a nice little retelling of,
Yeah, she's an anti-hero, and it was a little more complicated than you originally thought.
Yeah.
Cool, but.
Didn't
she
kind of
where do you go with their characters from there? Because you kind of redeemed Maleficent a little bit.
You redeemed her already. She found out her
Apparently not.
She truly fell in love with the little girl and had real love for her. That's why she was able to break the spell. It was just a beautiful, nice ending. I don't know why you would make a sequel to that where
so you can have more epic Lord of the Rings style final battles.
Because you felt bad she needed to actually be evil? Because I liked that she was good. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I don't know, but it's probably going to be number 1 this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think. Joker. I got distracted. I don't think Joker is gonna be taking number 1 again.
No, I mean it'll still do a lot, but you can only hold on. Say it. Cody's got the Hobbit. What's that song? The Misty Mountains theme as her ringtone.
Maybe you'll hear it in the background.
Telemarketer. Calling my phone. I forgot to turn it off.
So unprofessional.
It
but
is.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I haven't heard anyone be like, "Oh my god, Maleficent sequel," I think it will somehow take number 1.
Although I will say it was a movie themed ringtone. From The Hobbit.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Not a very good movie, but
whatever. Oh, the first Hobbit.
I hate the Hobbit movies, all 3 of them.
I like the second one.
Wasn't there only 2 Hobbits?
No, they made a third. Yeah, there was the third one.
What happened to the second one?
What do you mean? What happens?
That's a good question. 2 things, but the movie was 3 hours long.
I feel like should only have been one movie that was split into 2.
It was like the rest of the
only should have been one
movies.
movie.
They keep traveling. Yeah. They meet a dragon.
I did like
Benedict Cumberbatch, the dragon.
Awful movies.
I was sad that what's his name, Oakenshield.
Yeah.
Dies at the end.
I'm not.
I didn't
He's
want him
a butthole in the book. Good
Is he a
riddance.
butthole in the book?
Yeah. He just gets totally corrupted and turns evil.
Oh, he does get corrupted?
Yeah. He's a dwarf.
They're easily corrupted?
Yeah, dwarves are evil.
Except for Gimli.
Yeah, he's the good one.
He is the good one.
I don't know. That's an interesting the story of those movies. They destroyed the economy of New Zealand where they were filming them and just ripped off so many of the local people who worked on them.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Brutal.
Yeah, nothing about those movies is good. I don't know. I feel like that's probably the end of the episode.
We could talk all day.
I love talking about the dystopian future and the rise of streamers and meme the movie.
All right. Well, go out and enjoy real movies while you still can.
Real emotional character pieces.
Yeah.
As Scorsese says.
True cinema.
True cinema. And be sure to check out our podcast where we have a new episode up every Friday on all podcast services, as well as on our website, silverscreeninsider.com, where we have all sorts of information for theater owners and management, including a whole database of upcoming films and marketing information and other kinds of needs you might have.
Come check us out.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye, man.